Welcome to this edition of Tour Confidential on Golf.com. I'm Jessica Marksbury, joined today by Mike Walker, Jeff Ritter, and Cameron Morfitt via Skype. The Players' Championship commences this week, and Cameron, not only is it the richest purse in golf, along with the PGA Championship with $10 million up for grabs, but it also has the strongest field, and people have unofficially referred to the Players' Championship as the fifth major for a long time now. So my question is it time to make it official? Should it become the fifth major of the year?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think this tournament probably gets short shrift. I think it is the fifth most significant tournament of the year as far as cachet and importance of winning it. However, the problem is the PGA Tour can't just suddenly designate it as, you know, you are now the fifth major. It's just, if it were that easy, then the tour would have done so long ago. The problem is that of the four majors on the men's side, none of them are run by the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour doesn't have anything to do with any of them. They're basically Augusta National, the USGA, the R&A, and the PGA of America. So unlike on the women's side, where the LPGA Tour actually owns and operates the LPGA Championship, on the men's side, it's just kind of not that simple. So there's really no one at the tour who could say, okay, now there are five majors. As great as that would be for the Players' Championship.
Cam, you make a great point. I know the Players' Championship isn't even a European Tour event like the other majors would be.
Well, I mean, the real problem, and I mean, I love the Players. I think it's one of the great tournaments we have, and it feels like a major. It has all those things. But I mean, the biggest thing in golf is Tiger's quest for Jack's majors. I mean, I think that the four majors, the Grand Slam, I mean, does Tiger get his 3 Players' Championships? Is he now at 17? Does he go? I mean, it would cause too many problems. I think that it would be nice to call it a major. I think it's become that great golf tournament. But I mean, right now, you'd be cheapening the greatest quest in sports with just Tiger versus Jack. So I don't see how you could officially designate it a major, even though I think we all kind of look at it that way.
I'm fine with it being the fifth major, actually. I mean, I know tradition demands that we have 4 majors, but recently I played a round of hat golf with 15-inch golf holes, and that was fun, and I'm starting to loosen my stance on tradition of the game a little bit. And there is a precedent of majors sort of becoming a major after the fact. The Masters wasn't a major from the beginning, and neither was the PGA. So they sort of achieved that designation, and then we retroactively counted all those winners as major champions. So you could do it for the Players. You just have to go back and count everybody's championships before that. And the only one who would be upset would probably be Tiger, because he would lose ground to Jack. He'd be one more behind him. Jack's won 3. So that would be the only, I guess, drawback would be it would mess up Tiger's quest for Jack, which that is the biggest story in golf. But everybody else, I mean, Stephen Ames would be thrilled.
I'm trying to
be happy.
I'm trying to decide if Bobby Jones turned over twice in his grave or 3 times in his grave when you making that comment.
Well, I'm just thinking about what the LPGA Tour did. Last year, the Evian became the 5th major on that tour. You wouldn't think that it would necessarily go over so well with current players, but in our anonymous poll results, 64% of the LPGA players polled said they thought it was a good idea. I think it could go over very well on the PGA Tour.
But the Evian, they didn't make the past winners of the Evian. They didn't call them major champions.
Right.
And I think that's the one thing they would have to do if they ever did something this crazy with the Players' Championship. I think you have to go back and make those champions major champions if you're going to do this.
Well, Cam, I got a question for you then. You're out on tour a lot. Does the Players feel like a major when you're there?
Yeah, I would say the Players does feel like a major. I mean, it's got everything. It's got the sort of iconic golf course that's extremely penal if you're not on your game. You can shoot huge numbers there. I think it's got that type of feel. Certainly the money is there. Also, it counts extra when you really look at a guy's career for whether or not he belongs in the Hall of Fame. People do count the Players' Championship as a little something extra. So I would have no problem with there being 5 majors. But, you know, as you said, then you have to sort of retroactively go back and say, okay, Craig Perks is a major champion. And then you starts getting a little confusing from there.
So are we saying that this is just never going to happen? Are we going to stick with 4 majors on the men's tour going forward forevermore? Because it seems like if it would never happen for the Players' Championship, then it's just a done deal all around.
I think it could happen. I think it's more likely to happen once Tiger's quest for Jack is over. Because I think for that one story, for Tiger versus Jack, that would be like moving the goalpost during the game, you know, because all of a sudden now he's got one extra, he's got to chase Jack down. So if this were going to happen, I think it's still 10, 15 years down the road. But I think it could happen. You think it could happen? I
only think it happens if you demote a major. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we as fans decide what the majors are. And I think there's just such a history of 4 of them. I mean, we still talk about Bobby Jones being able to do the Grand Slam. We talk about the Tiger Slam. I just feel that 4 majors is golf. It's part of the history. And I think you'd have to demote the PGA if you wanted to call the players. And I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to do that.
Wow, yeah, that sounds a little outlandish, Mike. All right, well, just for the record, yay or nay, Cam, are you in favor of this?
Yeah, I'd go for it. Why not? I'm with
yes.
Ritter on this. I'm not bound to tradition. I'm saying yay.
All right, Jeff.
I'm in.
Jeff's in. Mike.
4 majors.
Mike is a traditionalist. I'm going to say yeah. I like the idea. I think 5 majors. Then look at our schedule. April Masters, May Players, June US Open, July British Open, August PGA, and then of course the Tour Championship. We can discuss making that a 6th major later on, but that's an epic season.
Then let me know how big the holes are supposed to be in foot golf. If we're going to go 30 inches or 45 inches.
All right, well, it appears we're not going to be in agreement on making the Players Championship the 5th major this year, but it's bound to be an exciting tournament. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's Tour Confidential. We'll see you next week.